game. He did not play the first time these teams met. Member of Winter Haven's football team. Several football guys on the basketball team. None of them played in that season opener.
I would say, looking at the game right now, Winter Haven advantage is pretty much to go to James. I mean, James is one of those type of player that I don't think Poinciana have an answer for right now.
No one can match up with his size, length, or his athleticism. And he does a good job, again, of making his defender move. He's not staying in one spot on the floor offensively. You have to respect his ability to knock down the jump shot.
I also like the way he's not forcing the issue.
Strickland connects on the pull-up. 6 points for him. Tyrone Woodside said Darius James a little frustrated with his performance so far this season. Not quite in basketball shape after playing an entire season of football. But he's got to be pleased with the way things have gone tonight, especially here in the second half. And now James will head to the bench as Jabari Alexis comes in.
And I tell you what, that young man is looking pretty good tonight. And I know Coach Tyrone has to be excited.
Pesky Poinciana staying around. 5-point game, just past the midway point of the third quarter here from Clearwater High School. Alexis, well out of control. Got it to go against England. Moody quickly the other way on Hawkins. Every shot is more difficult than the next for Isaiah Moody.
It's amazing that the ball is even going into the basket with some of these shots that he's taking.
You know how much touch he had to have on that basketball and backspin? That ball landed outside of the square.
It's just amazing.
What's the degree of difficulty on this one, Andrew?
Oh, man, he gets a 9.9 out of 10. Any avoided contact.
That is true. Poinciana is doing a great job of getting the ball out, outletting the ball really quick and putting the pressure on Winter Haven. I mean, that particular time, they was pretty much a one-man break.
Celestin goes 1 of 2. Poinciana continues to make challenged twos at difficult angles. Gomez got out of control, and the ball will go over to Winter Haven. Turnover.
They gotta move. They gotta move.
Well, just as it seemed like Poinciana was gaining a little bit of momentum, I mean, you see him come down and make a play like that. I mean, that's a perfect opportunity for you to come down and set something up and get a good shot.
I mean, the key against full court pressure is to break the press. So once that's done, unless you have a clear open layup or an easy shot, you want to give yourself an opportunity to make sure you do get a good shot. And right there, I think on that possession, you know, Poinciana just dribbled the basketball too deep and led to an easy Gomez turnover.
This is a Poinciana team that is having to transition from not having a guy who they expected to be their starting point guard. Jaquan Flood was the point guard for this team all summer, averaged 12 points and 5 assists last year, but transferred to All Saints Academy in Winter Haven. McSpadden out of control on that drive and an offensive foul.
Easy call for the official. I mean, McSpadden he kind of lowered his shoulder and lowered his head and just kind of drove in out of control. It's an easy call for the officials.
More like a tight end on that possession.
5 turnovers from McSpadden. Credit Anthony Gomez with great defensive positioning. Gomez handles against Celestin. A rare set from Poinciana. Lewis used a ball fake to free himself.
There you see Poinciana came down. They finally got into some form of offensive set, and then they were able to get a very, very good job.
Official stop play. Maurice Anglin perhaps got caught with an elbow, so he'll take a seat. And Teron Mallard will come on. I hope that England's able to come back. Didn't score last night against Clearwater, but he's had a tremendous night. 8 points in that first half.
It's good to see the young man off to a good start. I mean, I seen him in the first game here and struggled a little bit early on, but picked it up.
Celestin short on the 15-footer. Once again, the Blue Devils active on the offensive board. Hawkins with the putback.
If Poinciana have any chance of winning, they're going to have to limit them to one shot, one and done.
McSpadden in transition. That pass deflected off of a Poinciana player. And Jack Johnson says it'll stay with the Blue Devils. Celestin wide open free throw line jumper missed. Tap by Alexis, no. Mallard has it for Poinciana. Gomez on the run, tough floater. And the Eagles continue to hit difficult shots to stay in the game.
Winter Haven can just not find a way to stretch this game out of reach. Poinciana did a great job of hanging in there and weathering the storm.
They're just hanging around, and before you know it may be a different story here for Winter Haven.
An offensive foul called against Celestin, lowered the shoulder to try and create space against Lewis.
That just comes from heating the basketball up and creating good pressure. And you saw in that possession, Lewis just being pesty on the defensive end.
And also you had Celeste just trying to do a little bit too much.
Poinciana nearly turns it over against pressure in the backcourt. Moody picks up the dribble and comes out high to Lewis.
You know, for a team who didn't really know if they were going to have a point guard, I think Gomez is doing a great job for them tonight.
They found an answer.
Under a minute to go here in the third. Winter Haven led by 3 at the half. Right now the advantage is 4. McSpadden against Gomez. Spins back to his left hand, and they'll get Teron Mallard for a foul. And he vehemently disagrees.
Well, it's one of those situations where as a coach you're telling your player, don't bail them out, don't bail them out, but there's definitely contact there.
And easy to see on that replay, he was not vertical.
No, and a lot of times young players, you know, they have a hard time understanding exactly what vertical means.
Well, I know my coach had a really good way of explaining that one. Get a little bit of horn action, he'll sit you down on the end of the bench, and he'll show you what at least vertical means.
Well, I think you just spoke that one up because he's headed to the bench right now.
Darian Dixon comes in to replace Mallard. Poinciana is yet to get Maurice Anglin back in. He's being worked on by one of the trainers near the bench. 1 of 2 for McSpadden. He'll get a break. Alajon McAllister comes in for Winter Haven.
Poinciana is doing a great job of transition offense, but they got to get some stops here on defense. They have to get some stops, and they have to limit them to one shot and done.
Wiggins with good work defensively on Gomez. Moody using the dribble to create space. McAllister, who just checked in, guards him. May have gotten away with a push. Gomez has it with 10. And an offensive foul is called against Anthony Gomez.
Moody just a little bit too cute here at half court on the pass. It's allowed for Winter Haven to begin the sequence. They're just not being very careful with the basketball. And once they're unfortunate enough to come up with the play, and it's like the players may have banged knees on that possession.
And then you can see Gomez, I mean, as soon as he got the ball, he took a look at the clock, and he had one thing on his mind was to drive it and get it all the way to the basket and try to do something for his team. I think it was probably a little bit too much.
Gomez in a lot of distress over there on the bench. Celestin with 4. Clock now at 2. St. Fleur on the drive, puts it up and banks it in at the buzzer. Winter Haven gets a free throw and a bucket late in that third quarter. St. Fleur's drive has the Blue Devils in front by 7, headed to the fourth. Winter Haven outscores Poinciana by 4 in that third quarter, and the Blue Devils have a 7-point advantage. as we head to the final 8 minutes. This is one of the better years in recent memory for Osceola County. Poinciana right now at the top of the Orange Belt Conference, but still games to go against Gateway and Osceola. Those are considered to be the two most talented teams in the county. Cowboys and Panthers have both played a challenging schedule so far, and Shane Whitsett was quick to point out that Liberty has one of its most talented teams in school history. So a lot of competitive games to come in the second half of the season in Osceola County. Fourth quarter begins with a drive by Lubin and an offensive foul. Jabari Alexis perfectly set up to take the charge.
Alexis sacrificing his body and rotating over from the weak side defense. Meets the ball outside of the paint, which is what you're taught to do.
Every time it looked like Winter Haven was going to pull away, Poinciana has had an answer. St. Fleur, that is shot blocked by Lewis. It'll stay with the Blue Devils.
Definitely not Winter Haven's best offensive ball club on the floor, so you wonder how long Coach Woodside's going to keep his offensive power on the bench to start the fourth quarter.
Baseline jumper for McAllister.
And for Poinciana, I mean, this is the time you want to try to cut into their lead when you don't see some of the better players on the court by, continuously being aggressive, but at the same time, being poised and running your offense.
No McSpadden, no James right now for Winter Haven. Celestin called for a foul, trying to guard Moody. It's been fun to watch Moody against either Celestin or McSpadden. Those are the two that have guarded him most often tonight. Screen and roll. Anglin never had control of that ball. Long outlet pass. Celestin saves it to Moody. Gets back to his right hand, finds Anglin, and he's into double figures with 10.
Nice play by Moody to get the ball out and get the ball into the middle of the court and find Anglin underneath the basket for an easy layup.
Celestin for Alexis may have gotten away with a travel. St. Fleur lost it. Ball ends up in the hands of Ohaji Hawkins off the back rim. Packer opts to pull it out. Haven't seen much of that tonight. Lewis, good look out of the corner off the front rim.
Good ball movement by Poinciana. Good look at the basket, just didn't fall.
Both teams right now trading useless jabs.
Moody right into Hawkins, and that's a block.
And also both teams look a little winded.
Moody attacking the basket once again, and in that possession, Hawkins not catching the offensive player square in his chest, so that's definitely a block.
Wiggins, James, and McSpadden come back in for Winter Haven.
The whole game, I mean, Poinciana has been right there in the ball game, but they just haven't been able to get over the hump.
A jumper by McAllister at the start of the quarter pushed the lead to 9. Poinciana's responded with a bucket. And Moody hits 2 free throws. Eagles back within 5 at 54-49.
This is an important possession right now. If Poinciana can come up with a stop and score on the other end, I think they would put more pressure on Winter Haven, but that's not going to happen.
Long 2 from Wiggins. He has 8. Poinciana quickly the other way. Strickland was fouled by Hawkins.
Winter Haven not knowing who they're guarding. I mean, I know if I'm Coach Woodside right now, that's the first thing I'm telling my point guard. We just checked 3 guys in the game. You got to find out who you're guarding on the other end of the floor.
They're allowing the ball to get out and up the floor way too easy.
And that foul count, which was heavily in the favor of Winter Haven, at the start of this second half, now starting to even out. 10 fouls against Poinciana, 6 against Winter Haven. So the Blue Devils in the double bonus. They'll shoot 2 free throws on any foul. Poinciana will have a 1-and-1 on any common foul from here on in.
Well, Poinciana are, fortunate right now because they're making their free throws, and that's what's keeping them in the ball game.
Strickland missed it, got his own rebound, and finished around Darius James.
What a play by Strickland, just the heads-up play, just to know and understand where the ball was coming off and get in there and get a rebound and finish it.
Celestin blows by Strickland, missed the layup. Jabari Alexis kept it alive, had it stripped away by Strickland. Strickland threw it away, ends up with it. Both players come into our broadcast position, and Poinciana gets a timeout. Upcoming schedule for Poinciana. Eagles and Shane Whitsett coming to Clearwater to begin their holiday schedule. They're at the Jim Clark Hornet Holiday Classic at Bishop Moore. And then January 7th, a district game at Lake Wales, and the Highlanders now at full strength. That's one that could go a long way toward determining seeding for the district tournament.
Well, I'm really interested in see, the type of product that Lake Wales puts on the floor this year. I believe they have Shavonte Frazier coming back in the backcourt, who had a very outstanding season last year. But there's been a little bit of change over there as well, so it'll be interesting to see how the Highlanders come out to start the new year.
Shavonte Frazier produced one of the greatest shots you and I have ever seen at the end of the Mosaic tournament last year with a 3 at the buzzer to beat Dr. Phillips. Out of the timeout, Lewis passes out of a double team. Poinciana with the ball, trailing by 4. Moody past Celestin and around James for yet another fantastic finish.
And it continues. I mean, Moody comes up with some of the most difficult shots that we've seen, and fortunately he's able to knock him down.
I do not want to see that young man in the game a horse.
Celestin gets past Strickland, and a nice finish of his own with the left hand. Celestin into double digits with 10. Moody has it poked away from behind. The officials could have gotten Lewis for a little bit of a check there as Wiggins was chasing after that loose ball. Instead, out of bounds. Possession stays with Poinciana.
Well, for the moment, we've seen Poinciana get as close as they've been since the beginning of the game with a 2-point lead, and now it's back up to 4. So Poinciana really needs to buckle down here and convert on this possession.
Strickland with a ball fake. Difficult shot in the face of Wiggins, and he drills it a long 2.
What a shot by Strickland.
Strickland 5 of 6 from the floor tonight. Poinciana refuses to go away.
Well, Austin, if you let a team hang around and continue to build their confidence, this is the type of situation you'll find yourself in at the end of ball games.
Alexis in the corner. Strickland, hard drive. Never seemed like he was quite in control of his body. That ball touched by England when he was out of bounds. It'll stay with Winter Haven.
The last 2 possessions, we've seen Celeste really try to create by penetrating and getting to the basket. I would like to see him swing around a little bit more, getting into his big man, as we're just seeing James just score.
Darius James with the jump hook, 14 points for him.
Lost art basketball.
Lewis fouled shooting a 3 by Jabari Alexis.
That's something you definitely don't want to do, foul a 3-point shooter. Now you give them an opportunity to stop the clock, step up to the free throw line, and knock down 3 shots.
Not only that, they're in the bonus for the rest of the way as well.
Lewis just 43% at the line coming into tonight. Odd considering his prowess from 3-point range. I never understand what it is about guys who shoot 3-pointers at a high efficiency and then step to the line and can't shoot more than 50%.
That's the oddest thing. I mean, you get so used to shooting the ball from distance, and then when you step up to the shorter distance, it appears that you just don't focus as much.
All your great shooters could shoot free throws, point blank. And we can go down the line, you can name them all. If you can knock down free throws, you can be able to consider yourself a good shooter.
Lewis hits 2 of 3. That trims the deficit to 2, 60-58. Lewis checks out. Anthony Gomez back on the floor for Poinciana. Celestin gets doubled. Strickland saves it from going out of bounds. Eagles a chance to tie or take the lead with a 3. Anglin, nice find underneath. Dixon's layup evens the game at 60.
Nice hustle play, nice teamwork by Poinciana.
Celestin all the way in a left-hand layup. Anglin quickly gets it into the hands of Strickland. Blocked by McSpadden.
There's that man against Celestin. I mean, doing what he does best, penetrating and getting in between the gaps, and he came up with a big bucket for his team.
Winter Haven showing some patience in the half court. Just as I say that, Wiggins attacks. Darius James has had such a great second half, and the Blue Devils back it out. Reach-in foul against Gomez will put Celestin on the free throw line.
Well, Poinciana have done a great job here down the stretch. Oddly, we haven't seen McFadden with the ball much, and they've been doing a great job defensively, keeping the ball out of his hands, but now they just got to come up with some stops with the other guys.
You know, every time McFadden touches the basketball in the half court, they're running somebody at him to get the ball out of his hands. And what he's doing immediately is face cutting, taking 2 guys with him, which leaves a very big driving angle that Winter Haven's been able to take advantage of.
Very smart on his part.
Celestin hits both. He's 5 of 6 at the free throw line. 64-60. Gomez lost his footing and then threw it out of bounds.
One-man press by Derek Wiggins.
Pointless turnovers is a sure way to lose a basketball game down the stretch.
Wiggins doesn't yet have a great skill level, but you can't teach athleticism. James handling the ball on the perimeter, gets it to Celestin. And Celestin will head back to the free throw line after the foul against Moody. And if the last couple possessions are any indication, Tyrone Woodside wants the ball in the hands of Celestin because Poinciana has yet to prove they can guard him without fouling.
He's going to stretch those guys out. He's going to make sure he has Celestin and McSpadden in 2 corners up from the top of the key. Or excuse me, at the extended volleyball line. He's going to make you come out and guard. New basketball rules really don't allow you to put your hands on players driving the basketball.
Well, he's very poised and he's very, decisive with what he wants to do with the basketball. That helps too.
Timeout from Shane Whitsett as his team struggled with the backcourt pressure from Winter Haven. 1:59 to go here at Clearwater High School. Championship game of the 2013 Bright House Sports Network Holiday Tournament. Winter Haven a 65-60 lead. This is the second meeting of the year between these teams. Blue Devils won the first meeting 79-75, and this one looks like it's going right down to the wire.
Yeah, and for Poinciana, I mean, the time is now. I mean, if there was a time with a minute and 59 left to go in the game, you have to come up with some stops, and you have to come up with some easy buckets on the other end as well.
And we've seen Coach Whitsett out of these timeouts come up with an orchestrated play to get the shot that he wants for his ball club. I think that's very important right now in this possession. They have an opportunity to get a shot or even get to the free throw line. They can set up their pressure and try to keep the basketball out of the hands of McSpadden and Celestin.
It's key. I mean, if you can come up with the basket right here at this moment, I mean, you cut the lead to either 2 or you cut the lead to 3, and you give yourself a pretty good chance going down the stretch. You give yourself a better chance than it being a 7-point or 8-point deficit than a 3 or 2-point deficit.
Poinciana trying to continue one of the best starts in school history. Gomez will be checked by Derek Wiggins. He's had a terrific night on defense. Gomez threw it away. Dixon couldn't handle the pass.
Wiggins got a hand on that pass. Just the ball pressure, turned him 3 times before he crossed half court and then deflected the pass.
And that is not what Coach Wood said wanted coming out of that timeout, I guarantee you.
James blew the layup, lost track of where he was, and shot that ball right off the bottom of the backboard. Moody slicing into the lane. Two free throws and nearly another unbelievable finish.
Well, here you see just Moody just being really creative, and then it almost came up with another difficult shot and almost had it fall for him.
Friendly bounce off the rim for Moody. He's 3 of 5 at the free throw line.
And for Poinciana, number 21,
And we keep searching for words to describe the level of shots that he's taking. Difficult no longer does it justice. 1 of 2. Celestin is doubled in the backcourt, and he will spend a timeout. Smart move by the veteran point guard.
Good decision, great decision. And instead of making a costly pass or turnover by traveling or something like that, good heads-up move by calling a timeout.
Well, here, I mean, is a situation, kind of on both ends. I mean, if your coach would set, you almost like that timeout because it allows you to put the people in you want to set up your press, whether you're man-to-man, face guard, or you're in a zone press. Your coach would say, I got to tell you guys, look, we got to get to our spots, be strong with the basketball, use ball fakes. The ball has to come across the half-court line, up the center of the floor. You got to keep it off the sidelines.
At the same time, you give Coach Woodside an opportunity to set up a good play and to get a basket here to put some separation between Winter Haven and Poinciana.
Winter Haven 9 of 13 at the line here in the second half, 11 of 19 overall. 73 seconds to go in the game. Packer got a piece of that inbounds pass. Over the top, it's Darius James, poked away from behind, right into the arms of Alexis.
Well, if you're Winter Haven, you just kind of want to play keep away for the most part. You want to make sure that you make good, crisp passes and then get something going to the basket.
Lewis fouls Celestin. And I kind of thought that Poinciana would do everything within their power to keep from putting Celestin or McSpadden on the line, but they allowed Celestin to be guarded by one defender out at the top.
They had an opportunity for a trap here early on and allowed him to split the trap, which forced the foul.
Well, it's pretty difficult to do so when you have a guy like McFadden on the floor. When every time he touches the ball, he's going to draw attention, and then that's going to free up other players.
Celestin is 8 of 10 at the line. He's got 12 in the second half. Nearly forced the turnover. Packer attacking. Lewis out of the corner. In and out on the 3. Celestin looking for 20 at the other end. Around and down. That pushes the lead to 8. And just 30 seconds to go. Moody's 3 blocked by McSpadden. Terrific job at both ends of the floor by Winter Haven here in the closing 90 seconds.
And what a game by Celestin. I mean, this young man came out tonight with the eye of the tiger. I mean, he put his team on his shoulders down the stretch and looked like he may carry them to a victory.
And that was a 10-second call on that possession.
Wow, interesting call.
Time, the biggest enemy right now of Poinciana. Lewis retreats back to the three-point line and drills it.
The clock never started on the inbounds. Absolutely never started.
Only about a second came off by the time they realized that it hadn't started. Jack Johnson right now is at the scorer's table. He will call in Mike McFadden, and we'll see what they do about this clock situation. Right now it's 20.2 on the clock. And here's another look.
I mean, that's just a great play. I mean, if you can draw up a shot to get 3 touches in a second,
well,
that's a good job.
Well, the game has been so excited. I mean, we're only human. Sometimes you catch yourself watching the game instead of starting the clock, and then that was the case in that incident.
Bet your Florida Gulf Coast wish they had that clock operator against the USF last week.
We're hearing a 4-second time discrepancy, so they'll put 16 seconds on the clock. Seems about right looking at that replay.
Well, if you're Woodhaven, I mean, all you need to do is get the ball in bounds and just kind of make good decisions and not turn the ball over and walk away with a victory. Poinciana has to foul or come up with a quick turnover. If they don't come up with a quick turnover, steal or turnover, then they have to make a quick foul to stretch this game out a little bit.
And I'm not guarding inbound this possession. I'm face guarding McSpadden, making sure he doesn't get the basketball in his hand, and neither does Celestin, and force someone else to catch the basketball and make a play.
Well, face guarding either one of them would be key, but I agree.
Gomez gives the foul on McSpadden. And Shane Whitsett frustrated with the way his team handled that press release. So McSpadden will head to the line. Fairly quiet second half for Chance McSpadden.
Especially down the stretch, but I mean, I still really like this young man's poise and ability. He stepped up to the challenge and, you know, it helped his team get a victory tonight. I mean, a lot of it has to fall on his shoulders as well because he drew a lot of attention from the other team defensively.
The other piece, too, is I thought he made a bunch of big plays that may not show up in the scorer's column. There was a block down here defensively where he was able to get something done. We talked about his ability to stretch the defense every time he caught the ball and was double-teamed, making the right play, passing and cutting through, drawing to with him to create opportunities for his teammates.
And here he still ended up with a quiet 17 so far.
That free throw makes it a 3-possession game with 15 seconds to go. The drive, but the clock will continue to run. Poinciana's out of timeouts. So with 7.2, Celestin will go back to the line with his team leading by 5.
Coach Woodside right there with a great coaching moment for Darius James. Son, the clock continues to run. They can't stop the clock. We're in no rush to take the ball out of bounds. Clock's your friend. Take your time.
Exactly.
20 now for Celestin after that free throw, and at this point with Poinciana out of timeouts, Winter Haven could let Poinciana score and the clock would run out without them having to do anything else. Second one no good. Offensive rebound by Wiggins. He went back up, missed the shot, but the clock continues to run and goes to 0. Winter Haven is your 2013 Bright House Sports Network Holiday Tournament champion. Blue Devils prevail by 6 over Poinciana. 72-66 is the final score. When we return, we'll have an interview with our FBC Mortgage Player of the Game. Also, final stats. Blue Devils beat Poinciana 72-66 to win the BHSN Holiday Tournament title. Winter Haven wins the 2013 Bright House Sports Network Holiday Tournament 72-66. Blue Devils defeat Poinciana. And our FBC Mortgage Player of the Game has joined us courtside, Ishmael Celestin, guard for Winter Haven. Ishmael, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Tell me what it is about playing against Poinciana. In the season opener, you had 20 points. Tonight, another 20-point effort.
They're pretty tough team, quick team. They play hard against us, make a lot of jump shots. But we came out with a W. So.
Talk about your work tonight on the defensive end of the floor. It seemed like Poinciana had players that constantly made difficult shots.
Yeah.
How difficult was it to defend this team tonight?
They make a lot of good jump shots and attack the basket. They're a quick up and down team. But we had to do our thing on defense, to control them.
You added 15 pounds of muscle in the offseason. Your coach said that's made you a different player. How much more confident are you this year as opposed to the player we saw last year?
I can attack the basket more. Get a good height on my jump shot so nobody could block it. Stronger going to the hole. It helps a lot.
Ishmael Celestin, our FBC Mortgage Player of the Game. Ishmael, congratulations.
Thank you.
Go enjoy the win. A great night for Ishmael Celestin. 20 points, 9 of 12 at the line. He also had 5 rebounds and 3 assists. Chance McSpadden and the rest of the Blue Devils getting ready for the trophy presentation here as they present all tournament honors. Certainly no shame in the effort put forth by Poinciana. The Eagles take their second loss of the season, both of them coming against Winter Haven. This one doesn't count in the district standings. A 4-point loss, 79-75 in the season opener, and here tonight, 72-66. I've been rejoined courtside by Andrick Frazier and Gerard Ward. And guys, as you think back on the game tonight, I think Celestin's play was terrific. McSpadden outstanding as well, but Winter Haven just more consistent for 4 quarters, I think, than Poinciana.
I think it was them playing a game they're accustomed to playing. I mean, they like to play fast. They like to get teams kind of out of what they want to do. And they know they can depend on certain players to step up and make big plays. And I think we saw that with Derek Wiggins, a couple of great defensive plays. We saw Darius James shoot the basketball out of his mind from 12 feet. And those are the things I think that carry them to victory.
Yeah, and also I think Winter Haven stuck to their principles, stuck to the things that they do best. I mean, at times it seemed like they got rattled, but in the end, they never really did. I mean, Poinciana did a great job in the second half of putting more ball pressure on Winter Haven and trying to create different things. But, you know, in the end, the better team won, I think.
Well-played competitive game here tonight. Winter Haven improves to 9-3 on the season as the Blue Devils defeat Poinciana 72-66. For our entire hard-working Bright House Sports Network crew, producer Chris McCulley, director Bob Herman, Andrick Frazier, and Gerard Ward. This is Austin Lyons saying good night from Clearwater. Winter Haven is your 2013 Bright House Sports Network Holiday Tournament champion.